right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Pat just pitched me a video that he wanted to do that he can kind of springboard into his YouTube channel when he starts it. We're going to be talking about some Ghostbusters here, and about where the franchise is at, the announcements that came a couple of days ago, where the series could go from here. I have a couple of thoughts. I'm cool with the series moving on, but I kind of thought Afterlife was a nice little okay, felt like a finale, But
Sure.
at the same time, I'm cool if they want to do more. It's not pissing me off,
I
So
remember when Afterlife came out, you were like, "I think they should stop there." That was like a good ending, and I was like, and then for me, I'm like, da 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 da. I'm like, no, we must push
yeah,
forward.
So I say let them come. Let them come. Come on. Come on.
And I like, it was a perfect cap off to
make our
Egon.
man Winston
Yeah, it was
ahead
perfect
of it.
cap off to Egon, a perfect cap off to most likely Bill Murray's Venkman. I was shocked he came back in Afterlife.
I was too, honestly.
I would be shocked if he came back again. I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
So just to think that, spoiler alert for Afterlife, that Venkman and Dana ended up together is a nice thought.
Yeah.
And a nice way to,
I'm surprised Sigourney Weaver came back too.
Yeah, that was nice. I was glad to see her. Dan Aykroyd was a guarantee no matter what. Like,
Oh, I
Dan
know,
Aykroyd's
yeah.
always excited for
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
I'm
so,
surprised Harold Ramis came back as a ghost.
I mean,
They did a really good job with that.
people, like, I've seen on Twitter, some people are like, "Oh, that's so ghoulish. How can you revive the dead?" I'm like, I think the way they handled it was
By
respectful.
making him like an actual ghost.
Making him a ghost, making him not talk, having him just in a couple minutes. It was
Him being
respect-
integral to the plot.
Yeah, it was a respectful send off to him, and you
Dude,
could tell it was
okay,
made with a lot of love.
The end of that, like, I don't have like a huge attachment to like Ghostbusters like
Yep.
you do. Like, I mean, I've seen the first two movies a few times now. I've seen Afterlife probably 2 or 3 times. Dude, but I had watched Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 before I went to go see Afterlife in the theater. Dude, when he pops up at the end and he grabs Phoebe's proton stream and he just looks at her, the waterwork went off, man.
Dude, this movie, even now, if I just watch that like last few minutes on YouTube, just as an individual
Yeah.
clip, I start tearing up.
Yeah, the waterworks get you, man, in this movie. I was like,
But
did
so
not
some
expect
people-
that.
Some people did. I didn't think that was the right thing to do, but it was done with the full support of his family. His daughter was fully on board. She was one of the first people Jason Reitman pitched it to. Some
Yeah.
people just were angry because they were fans of 2016's Answer the Call, and then that kind of.
Whose IMDb rating is definitely like hacked or something.
Oh, really?
It's going up.
Like, we'll get to it because you and I've convinced Alex that in October we're gonna do like kind of a Ghostbusters marathon. I'm gonna go to his apartment. We're gonna watch the Ghostbusters
Play
movie.
Ghostbusters, the video game.
Yeah, Alex hasn't seen Answer the Call, the 2016 reboot.
Even though I act like I haven't.
We'll have more thoughts on that because I'm forcing Alex to sit down and watch it. I'll just say it's not the worst film ever made, like some people say it is. It's also not very good. But so we'll see what you think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ghostbusters now, Afterlife served as like a way to bring back the original continuity. It wasn't a reboot, it was a third movie. It was, a legacy sequel in the same way that like Creed is, or
Right,
that
right.
Cobra Kai is. Like
Right.
it brought back, or Force Awakens even. Like it brought back an old franchise and brought back the characters we knew and expanded on it
Right,
uh,
right.
for a new generation. So I could totally see like if Afterlife hadn't made much money and it wasn't like a success,
Right.
I would have been totally fine with like, okay, that's a nice like wrap up to Ghostbusters as we know it. Sure.
Hmm.
But the thing is, with the way they ended it, where the post credit scene where Winston is now rich.
Well,
and
that's the thing. I remember I didn't see that post credit scene in the theater. I only saw the mid credit scene because I had to book it out of the theater to get to work.
That got me
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah. So once you told me that, I was like, yeah, I still think it feels like more of a finale, but hey, but it was like that like proved that they could go further, So
Yeah.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
like I'm cool with that, especially if it's Winston.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ernie
I think
Hudson's the man.
Jason Reitman at one point I think said that he wants Winston to kind of be like the overseeing character,
Good. Give
kind of
him
like
his due.
exactly, and they finally are. And
Yeah.
like me personally, I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, but I'm so excited for the future of the franchise. So this last weekend, this past week, um, there was an Ecto Fest, the first ever Ecto Fest convention at like the Sony Studios lot or whatever, and they had all these announcements
The one
about like,
franchise they're getting right.
yeah, they had all these announcements about the future of the franchise, and I was like literally, so I stayed up late to watch like the live stream of the announcements. So my wife's asleep. I'm sitting out like outside the bedroom, like with my phone, just waiting on Instagram for the live stream to start. And then it's going, and it's like midnight, and like they're like making all these announcements, and I'm like, yes, yes. And then when they get to finally the live action film announcement, I'm like, ah, like
What's the
scream.
working title of it again?
So the working title is
Firehouse?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Firehouse is going to be the Afterlife sequel. They said it's going to be the continuation of the story of the Spengler family. So I 100% think Phoebe's still going to be the main character.
Yeah.
We most likely are going to see Trevor played by Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah.
I think the two of them were very good. I hope we get podcasts back because I
I
freaking
love podcasts.
podcasts.
Podcast is the man.
And like they filmed Afterlife back in like 2019 or 20 like it got delayed.
I think it was even earlier, man, because it kept getting pushed back, even in 2019.
Kept getting pushed back. So I'm kind of excited for the fact that if we get more of them, they are going to be older. Like Phoebe probably will be like a teenager, like a full blown teenager.
Finn Wolfhard will probably be like 20 or something.
Yeah, like college age, like character. Like I hope Gary Gruberson is still dating their mom so we can get Paul Rudd.
I know Paul Rudd was awesome.
like
he's perfect for Ghostbusters too.
I want Paul Rudd as a Ghostbuster. I'm like, he has that right like charisma and that right sense of humor.
He shows them Cujo in summer school.
Like I want Paul Rudd as a Ghostbuster. When they first announced Afterlife and they said Paul Rudd was in the movie, I'm like, he's playing a Ghostbuster. Yeah. And then he wasn't. But like
he was just Gozer, the Keymaster or whatever.
He was the Keymaster, yep.
Yeah.
But so I'm hoping he's still in it because I want to see him become a full-fledged Ghostbuster. I think that'd be hilarious, especially if he's like training with like young kids as like Phoebe's age people. As
dude, if he's just like geeking out about it, like how when he plays Ant-Man, he's geeking out about the Avengers, you know, that'd be awesome.
So they said that Firehouse is going to be a direct continuation. So they said where we left the Ecto-1 at the end of Afterlife, where it got brought back to the Firehouse, it was back in New York, and you saw at the very end of Afterlife the containment unit from all those years ago blinking. Yep. So I'm hoping, and like it's kind of like a cliche because the first one did it, but I want all those ghosts to like burst out of there, okay? And I want to see
Vigo the Karathi.
No Vigo.
Yes, Vigo. Hey, they did Gozer again, okay?
No, exactly.
No,
Vigo. No. That's exactly why they shouldn't do Vigo. We don't want to. It worked for Gozer. That was fine. Vigo needs to stay.
See, it didn't work for me with Gozer. Yeah, it didn't work for me with Gozer back.
I was fine with it.
Gozer back and did something a little bit different with Gozer, and I'd be like, okay, but then, like they brought it. That was like my only issue with Afterlife. Where it was like, okay, we're bringing Gozer back, but it's the same thing. It's the Keymaster and the.
You have to though. That's the thing. The entity is tied to that lore. Like they like established in the first movie.
Yeah, like all the Shandor stuff. Yeah,
you can't do Gozer without it being unlocked by the Keymaster, the Gatekeeper. You can't do it. So they kind of had to do that again. I liked the idea that the younger generation has to face the enemy of the older generation. Like that was cool, which is why I don't want them to do it with Vigo because I'm like, that was cool. I'll give you a pass. I liked it. But if you do the second one and it's like Vigo's back, I'm gonna be like, no, Vigo, get back in the painting. I don't want to see you.
I think that actor's dead anyway.
Oh yeah, and he was also a nut job apparently. So
I'm not surprised.
He was in Die Hard 1. He was in Die Hard 1.
Bring Jonas back.
I wouldn't mind that honestly. So the fact it's gonna be back. It's going to be back in New York, which I think will be cool because Afterlife was smart to take it away from New York.
Yeah, and put it in like a small, like sleepy town.
it gave the whole movie a different vibe, which it needed. Because Ghostbusters 2, as much as I enjoy it, is definitely far too much like Ghostbusters 1 sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so that was smart, but I think the idea of bringing the Ghostbusters back to New York is potential for like a really cool thing. Means you could see Slimer again. You could see. I hope that if the containment unit is like the main problem, if that comes out, I'm hoping there's some entity in there that we've never seen before.
That'd be cool.
That's like really
That's
bad.
what I'm hoping, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. I want something, and if it's called Firehouse, I'm kind of expecting it's going to be like very much centered on what the Firehouse has been like for the past 30 years or whatever. So I'm very excited for that. Like I really enjoyed Afterlife. I'm excited for Firehouse. There are some people that are like, just stop making sequels to old franchises. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
but if the sequels are good, keep doing them.
exactly.
Like,
I'm like
everybody's like Top Gun didn't need a sequel, but everybody loves Top Gun Maverick.
Exactly. If it's good, people will forget about
I
that.
want a Top Gun 3 now. Don't stop at 2.
The reason people are upset about them continuing to make Jurassic movies is that we've talked about this on your channel. Only the first Jurassic Park is a great movie.
Yeah, Dominion sucks.
I haven't seen it yet. But the rest of them, at best, are entertaining.
Not Dominion.
And at worst, are bad.
Dominion.
So it's like if you're gonna, they passed the torch to Jason Reitman, which I think some people are like, it's nepotism, and I'm like, but there's something. It could be nepotism, absolutely, but there's something sweet about Ivan Reitman being able to do Afterlife with his son, pass that on to the next generation.
Right.
Because you'll see what I mean when we watch Answer the Call. I think that movie would have been much more well received if it was actually a passing the torch continuation, instead of ignoring everything else.
And it's a cool dynamic too, how you have Ivan Reitman doing the first two with the original cast, and then this one's a passing of the torch movie, but it's also like Ivan Reitman's passing the torch of the director's torch to his son, and his son gets to maneuver around with the younger cast now, while also trying to figure out how to bring the old cast back. So,
and I like I was saying, I fully expect not to see Bill Murray anymore in the franchise.
I think if we get him, I think it'll only be for one more movie, and I think it's only going to be it's going to be less screen time than he had in Afterlife.
Yeah. I fully expect more Winston. Like, I think that's a guarantee.
Yeah, you better. He got shafted in the first two.
I think Dan Aykroyd, it would definitely come back if they want him to. Like, ideally, I would want to see kind of Winston as the backing funding of Ghostbusters. Yeah. And then I'd want Dan Aykroyd to be kind of like the trainer, the instructor of like the one actually kind of still in the field a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be cool. Janine needs to get her old job back. Okay.
Ghostbusters, how can I help
her
you?
Back. Her one scene at Afterlife was great. I want her to come back and work at the Firehouse. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think you have to give the spotlight to Ernie Hudson though, because dude, you look at how he's introduced in Ghostbusters, and then how he's used in Ghostbusters 2. Like, he's introduced as the new Ghostbusters, but the way that their Ghostbusters team member, I should say, that was kind of a weird phrasing there. Like, when you look at how some of the shots are like shot and structured in that, it's just like half the time you're like, where's Winston? And Ernie Hudson himself hasn't been very happy with the way that his role turned out in those first two Ghostbusters movies, even though he loves playing Winston. He'll come to Comic-Cons fully dressed as Winston, but he'll be like, my time on Ghostbusters, no, should have been in them more. So now that they kind of hinted that they're doing this with Winston, I'm like, good, go for it. Ernie Hudson's the man.
Yep.
That man is like 75. I can't believe it.
I particularly think the biggest offender of the Winston thing is in Ghostbusters 2, when for some inexplicable reason Winston's not at the trial.
Yeah. That's what I was referencing. That's what I was trying to reference. I was like, it was either the first one or the second one that had the trial thing,
Yeah, he's just like not there. And I'm like, what? But yeah, I like Winston a lot. I think he actually has some of the best lines in the first movie, despite not being in it much.
Yeah.
like I've seen shit that would turn you white is iconic, and like, or that's a big twink. Like he has some great lines. Or of course the classic Ray, if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. But yeah, so I'm excited for him. The other big bit of news besides the Afterlife sequel, Firehouse, working title Firehouse. Well, I actually just want to ask you right off the cuff, Alex, what would you call the next Ghostbusters?
Dude, I don't know, Firehouse. I don't know. I'm not good at coming up with titles here. I'm not good at fan casting or coming up with titles. I'll say
You'd be
that.
like, I want Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 4. Ghostbusters 4. How about that?
Ghostbusters forever. Ghostbusters: The Return of Vigo.
I would love that. Ghostbusters: Revenge of the Painting. I don't know.
Revenge of the Painting. Yeah, you're right. You're not good at coming up with.
I told you.
Yeah, so that was exciting. But the other bit of news is that they announced there's going to be a feature-length animated Ghostbusters film by Sony Animation.
Oh,
Which
so
I'm
they're
like,
actually doing something right.
yeah, I'm
It's
like,
Morbin time. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just kind of, I was like, whoa, what? Which is interesting. I'm not really sure what to expect. They said it's going to be with a completely different set of characters.
I was gonna say it's got to be with a completely different set of characters then,
Yeah.
right? Because they wouldn't have an anime film with the same characters running congruently with live action films with the same character. That would just fuck everything up.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
I'm not
So
sure what to expect really. They said it's going to be a different take on it. The one thing that gives me hope is that Sony Animation are the people that did
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
But
I expected nothing from that movie, and it was amazing.
the only thing is though is you have to find the right creative members behind it, and
Yeah,
that's what
the,
Spider-Verse did. You know, they got
the
Lord and Miller for Christ's sake.
the people writing and directing it, according to Jason Reitman, he thinks they're great for the positions. One of them apparently was an extra in Ghostbusters 2, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're doing an animated feature film. They're doing a live action sequel to Afterlife, and they're also apparently with Netflix doing an animated TV show that's going to take place in
Jesus.
decades prior, maybe with the original Ghostbusters characters. So I'm like, holy shit!
So like we're gonna fill in the gaps from like the '90s to now.
I guess. Like I'm like, whoa! Like we're just doing everything, and I'm here for it. Give it to me. I'm okay with this.
Did they announce a new game or no?
No, Spirits Unleashed is coming out this year. It's a console game.
Okay.
It's not similar to the Ghostbusters games.
Yeah, I think I had heard about that, and I was like, okay, cool, new Ghostbusters. And I saw what it looked like. I was like, oh,
It's more of like a multiplayer thing.
not
where,
my thing.
Yeah, where you can. Some people can be Ghostbusters, and you can also play as ghosts trying not to get caught. So it's kind of like a multi.
Yeah, not my thing, unfortunately.
So I mean, I sat through the Ecto-Fest announcements, and they were like video game stuff, VR stuff, and then they were like Hasbro people were like, here's all the Ghostbusters things you can buy for hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, listen, I respect this. I love when the people cosplay as Ghostbusters. Amazing. I'm not spending $500 on a Proton pack. I'm not doing it. Get me some Ecto goggles for $50 and I'm in.
Could you imagine though if you did spend the $500 on a Proton pack?
Listen, maybe
what if it worked? What if it worked?
What if it worked? If it worked, I'd be scared that it's gonna blow up or I'm gonna get radiation. Okay. One of the best scenes in Ghostbusters when they first turn it on in the elevator and you just see Egon just scoot back.
You know, it's just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Well, no sense worrying about it now.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Yep. Let's get ready. Switch me on.
The natural, ingrained, subtle comedy of the originals, not the slapstick of 2016.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the future of Ghostbusters. I think
You're
it's very.
excited for me to watch 2016.
I'm so
That's
excited to
part of your future of Ghostbusters for you.
It is. I'm so excited to marathon these movies with you, Alex, because we watched Ghostbusters 2 together years ago in like
Yeah,
October.
yeah.
But
I had watched
I'm-
Ghostbusters 1 before that, and then I think you came up one time and you're like, "Oh, like, hey, look, Ghostbusters 1 and 2 packaged together for like $10." I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll buy it too." And then we
Mhm.
watched Ghostbusters 2. I was like, "That's not as bad as people say it is. You're all morons and crazy."
I'm excited to watch those with you and then talk about them. I'm especially, like you said, excited to talk about Answer the Call with you. Yeah, so I'm excited. Give me more Ghostbusters.
Between the three, rank them: Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then Ghostbusters 2 for you.
I would go first one, Afterlife, Ghostbusters 2.
And then 2016 doesn't exist, right?
Answer the Call doesn't exist in that continuity. But if we're gonna rank all the Ghostbusters films ever, Answer the
That's
Call
last.
is definitely below all of them by
Yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah, so that's some Ghostbusters news for you guys. I mean, I'm not as big of a Ghostbusters fan as Pat over here, but I mean, hey, I mean, I like Ghostbusters, so if they want to continue it, continue it. I thought that Afterlife was a perfect finale. I think they if they had left it there, would have been more than content because it did feel like a finale. But we're getting more, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna bring to this franchise. So definitely not upset at the fact that they decided to go on. Pat, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at this Pat guy. And you could also soon find my YouTube channel, which is just simply going to be called Agamotto, like the character from Doctor Strange lore. There's a big eyeball as the logo, which will help identify it. The
You gotta
eye of
talk about.
Agamotto.
You gotta talk all the ghost like stuff. You gotta talk Scooby Doo. You gotta
Of
talk
course.
Supernatural.
Of
You gotta
course.
talk Ghostbusters. And I'm bringing this up because of that picture you sent me a couple days ago.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a YouTube channel I'm starting. One of my first videos is going to be a Ghostbusters video essay. So yeah, I'm a big Ghostbusters guy. Ghostbusters is to me and my brother what James Bond is to Alex.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited personally.
Nice. Yeah. Favorite franchise of all time?
No, probably not. It's up there though, but
Yeah.
like Star Wars is right up there, except the fans can be awful sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you join. This is why I was like, yep, this right here, yep, doesn't have any toxic fans. Ghostbusters, you don't have to worry about the fans.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes, yeah.
Not really anymore, but in 2016 you did.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
And like the movie wasn't good, but I don't think we needed to make it as big of a stink as
Yeah.
we
Yep. Yeah. I'll have to see for myself, but yeah,
Exactly.
you're probably right there. So, all right. So that's going to conclude this. You can find me at my official website, alexmaddenmovies.mystrikingly.com. All my social media links will be there. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. That was Pat. I'm Alex. We'll see you at the movies somewhere.